KCAA. KCAA now presents Crossroads, a program in the public interest, bringing you the issues you need to hear about here in our community. Now here's your host, Mark Westwood.
Good afternoon to you once again. Hour two of Community Crossroads. Of course, also politics on the mark or on the mark, depending on what show I'm playing or in. Mark Westwood, your humble general manager, I hope I'm trying to be, who's spending his last hour in this radio studio. And with my good friend at the controls, Eric Casario. Hello, Eric.
Hi, it's an honor to work the last hour with you.
Thank you. It's an honor to work with you, too. My good friend. And, we worked through the pandemic together and everything else. And, we've become a tight-knit family around here at KCAA. I haven't had to do a lot of hiring lately. I like that. And, of course, I haven't done any firing either.
I like that.
With one exception. I take that back. I did one. But in the last maybe 4 years, I think I've only done one firing. Got a good crew. I've got good people around me, a good team, a good support network. KCAA is a good, solid foundation, good organization, and I'm grateful to be here. And I'm honored myself to sit here in the studio. The last time we were going to air live from the KCAA studio at 1378 Industrial Park area. Spending it with some of my friends. I got one friend who's not quite finished with what he's talking about. He's running for tax assessor. Going to have my good friend Chris Robles coming on here in a few minutes to help me wind down the KCAA studio here in Redlands as we move back to San Bernardino, once where we came from before. We were at the Carousel Mall about 8.5 years ago. We moved over here. And now we've just got a really fantastic deal moving in with the Teamsters. It's going to be a whole new era for us. And you're going to see some big changes at KCAA. And it's my privilege and honor to help shepherd them. But what I've been doing the last few weeks is organizing that, getting things going, coordinating a lot on one end, and the other end trying out to be in two places at one time at the new location sometimes, and then at the old location they need to be here, and all that while doing just what maybe an ordinary general manager does, which is most of them are just sales guys who do the sales part of it. Maybe, some billing and stuff like that. No, not me. Engineering, promotions, production, on the air. That's why I love radio, Eric. I love it. And I love my job. Depending how taxing and sometimes stressful it is, folks, I am under a lot of stress right now. In a few hours, there will be movers coming. This evening, we're going to start dismantling it here. Tomorrow is moving day. We are picking it all up and moving it over to 433 North Sierra Way in San Bernardino, 92410. Nice digs. And we're going to have nice new furniture and stuff like that. So I'm anxious. I'm happy to be doing it, but at the same time, I'm kind of melancholy. Last hour, I shed a few tears as I looked around the room. I can't look at this room. I have an attachment to it. An attachment to my office, and I have to give up my desk. I don't like that. When I first moved over here, I had a desk that I purchased, and it was used, but it was a nice desk, worthy of the Oval Office this desk was. It just didn't have the little door in front. It's probably a good thing. But I tell you what, it was like the Constitution desk, and we're going to have to sell that and get rid of it because I was told by the facility coordinator over there, the decorator over there, not to bring my junk. I don't think we have junk here, but some of it may be a little old. It's been worn. It's better for the worse. I got to tell you, worse for the better. I don't want you to say that, but yeah, here we are, the last 50 minutes of KCAA, and I'm still here and honored to be with my friend Donald Williamson. Donald Williamson, hello and welcome once back again because we didn't get a chance to talk about the last point you wanted to talk about, so it's important. The election's November 5th. You got your ballots. Fill them out. Do it tonight. Mail them in. Mark Donald Williamson on there for tax assessor. And Donald Williamson, I'm going to turn the microphone over to you. Hello and welcome back, Donald Williamson.
Well, I'm going to pick up on something you just said about your furniture.
Okay.
And it's important because the mom and pop small operations or stores or store owners or that have their own maybe selling whatever, they have to fill out a business personal property statement every year.
I am aware of it.
Now the big corporations, they don't really need me.
Right.
They got money. They got attorneys. They got CPAs. They don't need the county assessor.
Right.
but the small mom and pop operations and stores, they do.
I got to tell you, I don't like it because we bought the thing, we paid taxes on it. Then while we use it, we pay taxes on it. And then if I sell it, I'm supposed to pay taxes on it too.
Well,
it's like,
but,
whoa.
But Mark, I'm looking around the room, and don't take this offensively, and I'm seeing some chairs and desks, and they're old.
Yeah, you're right.
And if I have people that don't know what a personal property statement is that they're supposed to fill out
Right.
every year, so they don't.
Right. Yeah.
So they don't on purpose get over assessed, but the appraiser still has to assess what he thinks they have.
We got a couch over there, ladies and gentlemen, that I brought in. It was actually, it wasn't the property of the company. It was my own personal property. I needed that couch was originally in the Democratic headquarters in the Carousel Mall at the Luncheon Club. I bought it for over there, and then when we closed it down, I said, that's my couch. I paid for it. I took it back, and we put it over here at the KCA Radio, and it's had a lot of good use and lots of butts sitting on it. And I got to tell you, I think there's some personal attachments with that couch that J.D. Vance might have been proud of. But anyway, I took you down the weed patch you shouldn't have gone. But okay.
Well, let me go on about this low value. It's called a low value exclusion. Mm-hmm. So if they just take a little pad and pencil, and maybe they got 2 rooms with a couple of desks. In the old days, it was a typewriter. Now it's a used computer. And some of the stuff might even be broken, but they're still able to use it. Mm-hmm. And you just take that pad and pencil and you itemize how many chairs, how many tables, a lamp or whatever, and a typewriter or a computer used, and be sure to say and then put what you think the actual value is of that and total it up. If you're under $7,500,
oh yeah, easy.
That's what I mean. If you're under $7,500, you just take that form you don't understand, put your name and address in where it tells you to, say see attached. Put that attached, mail it to the assessor's office. When they get that, we classify that into where it's going to be exempt, and we're not going to bother you no more.
I've worked in radio stations for so long and been in so many different radio stations. I got to tell you, the stuff starts off really nice and pristine, and it doesn't end up that way. That couch has a book under the backside of it to hold it up on one side.
That's what I mean.
I know that for sure.
I just said some things that you might actually use it is broken, but you're able to still use it.
We're still using it, but that thing, if I could get $20 for it at a garage sale, I don't know.
Right. So
I might just give it away.
So that helps the small property owners, store owners, and as a business, small business, where I run into a lady that I helped. They had a small, very small newspaper business.
So what happens if I'm just being smart here, but if I have to give something away and pay somebody to take it away, that might happen. Do I get a tax rebate? No, probably
Well, that
not.
would not be us. That would probably be IRS. But anyway.
Yeah, give a donation or something.
But let me talk about something else, because you wouldn't think that the county assessor would be helping churches.
Okay.
But before I retired, I made sure that there's 2 kinds of exemptions. One's called a church exemption, one's a religious. You'd think the church exemption is the one you want. They both give you the exemption. The problem is, the church exemption, you got to file every year. Mm-hmm. And if you don't, in the small churches, because they got volunteer treasurer or whatever, they might not fill it out. And they're exemptable but not exempt unless they fill out the form.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was that a signal to stop?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You keep going.
And so
I'm multitasking.
So I had my
I'm
staff
listening.
contact the ones that had the church exemption and switch them over to the religious exemption. That's a one-time filing. Mm-hmm. Now with the church exemption, if you don't file every year, you lose your exemption. With a religious, it's one time, and we send you we send you a form, and it just says, is there any change? You X no, sign it, mail it back. If you don't get it, you don't mail it back, you still don't lose your exemption. We just want to know there's no change. And
right.
so I helped all them big churches and the small churches, and they didn't even know it. But I did that before I left office. Another thing, all these forms, I had them all put on our website. So they're easy. You just, particularly the younger people, love to go on the computers. You just go in on the assessor website, look up forms, figure out which one you want, you print it, and you got it that quick. And so that was because of me. Mm-hmm. Let's see what else. Oh, Veterans Organization exemption. I've been helping the American Legion, VFWs, get their exemption. Before I left, we beat the bushes to get a hold of all of them because only 6, and the whole county had it. And I said, that ain't going to work, and because they're exempt from taxation.
Right.
But they before I left, they had it.
Mm-hmm.
Now I come back looking at it, almost nobody's got it, or it's very little. And I've already told them, I get elected, be sure you file the one time, because we're going to give it to you.
Yeah, we're sitting here talking with Donald Williamson, who's giving great advice, great tips. That's the resource we need in the office. If you want more information about Donald Williamson, it is just simple. Vote, V-O-T-E, DonaldWilliamson.com. Vote DonaldWilliamson.com. And Williamson is spelled with an S-O-N on the back of it, on the end of it. Vote DonaldWilliamson.com. A former U.S. Marine, 3-term county tax assessor, served us well. Very virile, very alert, very astute, can outrun me. And, he's in it to win it. And Donald Williamson, I thank you for your service. Former U.S. Marine MCRD, Semper Fi.
That stands for Marine Recruit Depot.
Marine Recruit Depot. Well, you know what this room is you're sitting in right now? If you walk around the end of the wall, I don't know if you've noticed or not, because I never painted that wall. I liked it so much. It's a red wall. It's got a green globe on it with an anchor and a hammer and a sickle or whatever. It's the Marine Corps symbol. Did you know this was a Marine Corps recruiting room?
It was.
This is before we moved in. This was the Army, Navy, and Recruiting Center. And this was the room the Marines had. That's why, look at this color on the walls. Look at the color in there. I just painted over it the same color, but it's the same color it was before. That's Marine Corps gold, or whatever you call that.
No matter what service a person was in, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, or Coast Guard.
Coast Guard, don't forget.
And
And now Space Force.
I was just going to say, now they got that one in there now. And but no matter what, we're all together. We're all one.
That's right.
And that's what kept America strong.
Something about the reason the Marines were founded by the Navy, or there was Navy first and then Marines?
Yeah, we actually, it goes way back when the Marines were on board ship to protect them.
That's right. And that's why they said they used to have the Marines on board to protect them on board the ship.
That's right.
And they had other reasons they said too, but we won't go there.
But believe it or not, when I joined, I didn't know we were under the Navy. It's still its own branch, so to speak,
right,
or sub-branch.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But our doctors and corpsmen and chaplain and nurses and all that, they all came from the Navy.
The United States first had an infantry, and that infantry became the United States Army. And from there, they formed a Navy. After the Navy, they had the Marines. And then we took to the air, and we had the Air Force.
They had an Army Air Corps, too.
And they had an Army Air Corps. Right. It started off as an Army Air Corps.
Right.
And then branched off from the Army as to the Air Force. So it's an interesting little genesis of how our military came about and why we have all these different branches. And, of course, the Coast Guard to protect our coasts and do various services and stuff for us. And then the Space Force to protect us from satellites. I guess. The United States of America has the strongest defense system in the world. And you saw just recently, and we're going to talk about this, not you, but the person that's supposed to call in, we're going to talk about what happened today with the death of Yahya, the Gaza leader. And he was killed in an attack, and what ramifications that might have. But, when they attacked, not Gaza, but when Iran attacked Israel, those were U.S. weaponry there. And they must have, if you could see it, it was just like a rainstorm of missiles coming in at Israel. And with the U.S. missile defense system, only one landed anywhere and did any damage. And there must have been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and they never got to the ground. That shows you how strong our defense system is, how strong our military is, and that we here in the United States don't have to worry about having 1 million guns per capita, and we don't need to be protected from our government either. Our government is our protector. And, it just tells you, how grateful we should be to our military and our defense systems and all the sacrifices that came before. My father lies at Riverside National Cemetery with a World War II, a Korea, and a Vietnam, and a Purple Heart insignia, Master Sergeant Daniel V. Westwood. Proud of him and his service, and proud of my uncles who served and were at D-Day, my Uncle Pat Sauer, and a whole bunch of my uncles. My Uncle Frank, my godfather, served in the Navy. I'll be honest with you, I don't think we had many Marines in our family, but I have a lot of friends who are Marines, and I admire and respect them. And thank you for your service. And thank you for your service, Donald Williamson. We're probably going to go to a break right now. And do you have anything else you would like to say?
I just want to say thank you to all the branches of service, the military men and women that are in them.
Absolutely.
God bless you. Semper Fi.
Semper Fi, God bless. Take care. Election's 19 days away, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for you to vote. It's time to exercise your civil duty that was hard fought for and fought for. Do it. It's the least you can do. Thank you very much. I'm Mark Westwood. VoteDonaldWilliamson.com. 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 You can find it, fill out your ballot, vote for him. And we'll be back with more right after this message on KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, the stations that leave no listener behind.
KCAA Loma Linda.
Re-elect Don Williamson as your county assessor. Some people run for office to serve themselves first. Others, like Don Williamson, run for office to serve you. He has a history of service as a former Marine and tax saver. When you're the assessor, you need real experience and knowledge to be effective. As a former 3-term San Bernardino County assessor, Don has a wealth of information for the people. Now he's back, running again because he wants to help people first, including seniors, veterans, mobile homeowners, and small business owners. Don's the only real experienced, educated, and certified tax professional from San Bernardino County who's actually done the job. He's a public servant. Don Williamson will cut your high taxes again. Go to VoteDonWilliamson.com. That's VoteDonWilliamson.com.
I'm Donald Williamson. Semper Fi. I want to help you save money. I approve this message.
Paid for by the committee to re-elect Don Williamson 2024.
I'm Gigi Hanna, and I'm excited to be running for District 3 Yucaipa City Council.
As a former elections official and city clerk, Gigi is the best qualified candidate with 30 years experience in municipal government, public policy, and team building.
We can work together for a brighter future.
She'll bring a strong, logical, expert voice to the table for the people.
I want to hear what you have to say as well.
Gigi wants Yucaipa to be Yucaipa, not Bakersfield or Fresno. Gigi loves Yucaipa for its safe, walkable downtown, easy freeway access, and rural feel. Yucaipa's rural charm is important to her. She wants to limit higher density housing, fully funding public safety and making sure our mobile home parks have stable rents and safe conditions.
Let's make Yucaipa an even better place to call home.
Knowledge, experience.
Maintaining Yucaipa's rural charm.
Like Gigi Hanna. Vote Gigi Hanna for Yucaipa City Council, District 3 by November 5th. Paid for by Gigi Hanna for Yucaipa City Council.
Once in a while, every so often, an educator comes to our school systems with passion and vision. That's Nicholas Dibbs.
Hi, I'm Nicholas Dibbs, teacher running for school board here in Garden Grove Unified Trustee Area 1. And the district cut 10 intermediate school woodshop classes and 4 auto shop classes. We need these classes back so students can have a better future.
This is Nicholas Dibbs' Opus.
Where many schools eliminate their wood shops, a project that they could really dig into.
No matter where you live across this country,
it feels like thrilling to see something that I've done being so important.
It feels nice because I know that a lot of people don't really think that kids can really do stuff like this. They don't think that we can actually do big things.
Some leaders recognize that, others don't. But on November 5th, you can by voting for Nicholas Dibbs.
Please support this effort so we can have quality vocational education.
And that's amazing.
Go to nickdibbs.org, nickdibs.org. Thank you.
Paid for by Dibbs for School Board 2024.
we've got to hire a new marshal, Derek Marshall. Your ballots are in the mail. Mail them in today. Now there's something to vote for because there's a new marshal in town. Vote Derek Marshall for 23rd Congress.
Y'all know we need to change Congress. The current Congress does nothing but fight with each other. They've forgotten why we sent them there, to work. Let's marshal and fix our problems at the border. A comprehensive plan, not political rhetoric and infighting.
Yes, there's a new marshal in town.
The rent is too darn high. Let's marshal in affordable housing and real affordable universal health care. Better union jobs.
The current Congress member put his party first and not people. But there's a new marshal in town.
Our incumbent party politician voted no on the recently passed bipartisan infrastructure bill. He voted no to $3 billion in new funds for our district and no to 35,000 new jobs right here at home. He said, we need a secure border, but now he's rolled it back to play politics. We need to marshal real solutions.
Vote for Derek Marshall because we've got to hire a new marshal, Derek Marshall. You can go to DerekMarshallCA.com, paid for by Derek Marshall for Congress.
My name is Derek Marshall, and I approve this message.
Are you graduating high school soon and wondering what to do next? College is one option, but why not consider the high-paying jobs made possible by union power? Labor Union Teamsters Local 1932 has opened a training center to get you into the high school to high-paying job pipeline. You'll learn all the skills needed to excel in opportunities across industries. Visit 1932trainingcenter.org to enroll today. That's 1932trainingcenter.org.
This is KCAA.
KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. Mark Westwood, your general manager, is wrapping up the political end of his show here. And, this is, Community Crossroads. Election's coming up November 5th. Make sure you vote. Make sure you register to vote. You have until the 21st to register, where your vote is not counted just provisionally. You can vote. You can register to vote on the day you vote, but you don't want to wait till November 5th. You want to register to vote. You want to make sure your vote is counting. So, make sure you go to iwillvote.com, or to sos.ca.gov/elections, and, or 777 East Rialto Boulevard, 777 East Rialto Boulevard in San Bernardino. Make sure that's all straight. Make sure you vote, because that vote has been long and hard fought for, and people in other countries are fighting for those freedoms and liberties, as you might witness if you turn the TV on and they're talking about the war in Gaza and Israel and Iran and how that's all coming down, and people are dying. And in the Ukraine against Russia, people in Ukraine are fighting for their own democracy and their own lives. So, we are pretty lucky and pretty fortunate here in the United States. All you have to do is open up that ballot that got mailed to you. The postage is guaranteed. Fill it out the best you can. Do some research, hopefully. Make your good decisions based on your values. Mark those little dots, stuck it in the envelope, sign the outside of the envelope, and put it in the mailbox, and you're done. But it's such an important thing you do. It's so important that you vote. We have 19 days, folks, 19 days. However you vote, that's your business. But today, it's a kind of an important day. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The last half hour of anybody, any place, anytime in this studio that I built about 8.5 years ago. Just after the 4th of July, the electricity got turned on here back in 2017. And, I walked in and I had a card table and a couple of chairs, no internet, no phones, and we went to town building this place and moving from where we were at the Carousel Mall for about 7 years. We've actually been here longer at this site than we were at our previous site, and that was the site the station started at way back on June 24th. That was the date. June 24th was the date we went on the air in 2000. And 2018. And that is also my birthday. That's also my birthday. And so I guess we have Chris Robles on. We'll talk about that in a minute here. We'll talk with Chris here. Chris, if you can hear me, are you here?
I am. I'm so sorry. Hey, it's election season. What can I tell you?
Yeah, that's right. We've been
calls coming out. I'm so sorry, Mark.
That's okay.
But I'm here.
That's all right. I was just talking about the wind down.
About?
Just an introduction real quick. Let me finish this up real quick. This is the last half hour of broadcast from this studio. A studio that I built about 8.5 years ago. Came in here and got it going. And so it's kind of a melancholy kind of thing here. It's fitting that I'm the last live show, but I didn't plan it that way, but that's the way it happened. So as we progress into this, and then we'll end it that way, I had Eric Casario there too. Eric has a few memories to talk about. So we're going to talk about maybe 20 minutes here on politics, and then we'll come back and we'll wrap this studio up, okay? And we'll maybe even call Eric Sanchez in here too. We'll get him in here and whoever else is in the building and talk about it. The people coming and going all day long, and we're getting ready and prepping. And tonight at 6 o'clock, we change the broadcast up to our transmitter sites, and away we go. We start turning it all off and unplugging it and wrapping it up. So, and then we move over to 433 North Sierra Way in San Bernardino with the Teamsters Union. So, Chris, I almost said Chris Williams. That's an artist friend I know of. We just had Don Williams. It's a combination. No, Chris Robles. Welcome for one more time to our studio, and welcome to being on KCAA. Chris Robles, the former chair of San Bernardino County. He's also a political consultant with Vantage Campaigns, and he's the go-to guru for if you want to get something done and politically around here, he can get the job done. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you, Mark. Well, those were very kind words. I appreciate that.
Talk a little bit louder into your phone if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, okay. You know what? I've got it on a headset. Let me get it off.
Okay, there you go. And while he's doing that, I'll say, Chris.
All right. Is that better?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, thank you, Mark. Those were kind words. I appreciate it. And I would say both. I'm sorry that you're closing up your old shop, but congratulations on the new location. I think it's going to be exciting for you and KCRA.
It's exciting. I'm nervous right now. I mean, can you imagine? You're in charge of the whole operation of shutting down 5 radio stations. By the way, I only moved 2 into this building when we came here. There's 5 going out, and that's in 8.5 years. Oh man, no wonder I'm tired. But anyway, and then starting them back up and getting them back on the air in time for us not to go bankrupt. The clients leaving us because we're not on the air. We got Mike Lundgren, who's helping us out in Texas, who's going to be taking over the areas and the broadcast of the stations while we're moving. And we've got all kinds of people here helping, and I'll have some people starting to arrive as soon as I get off the air. And I'm the last live program, so you know what's going to happen after we turn the microphones and the cameras off. We'll still be on the air. We'll be broadcasting from other locations from now through the next 4 days. And here we go. So let's talk about politics, Chris Robles.
All right, Mark Westwood.
Chris has been a longtime friend, and I have this list of friends I call. When I kind of get into a bind, it's like, oh my gosh, the person's not showing up. I just got off the phone with Kathy Sellers in Yucaipa. I said, hey, Kathy, want to come on the air? And you could hear the sheer terror. I'm not ready. My hair's not done. No, just kidding. She did not say that. But I scare people when I call around this time because I go, my friend Terry Massel is the former president of the Rancho Cucamonga Democratic Club. He gets my call around this time. He tells stories. One time he was sitting in a parking lot on one of those instances where I called him at the last minute. He's talking on the cell phone, and he's out in the parking lot, on the end of the parking lot, and we're talking about police salaries, and up rolls a sheriff's department car wanting to know why he was sitting there. It was like, oh, I get people into trouble, and that's what I'm here for. So how can we get you into trouble, Chris Robles, today? What would you like to talk about the election-wise?
I get myself into trouble as it is. I'm always fighting. I'm tilting at windmills. I'd love to talk about Ontario.
Let's talk about Ontario. It's part of San Bernardino County.
Okay. Yeah, well, it's where I live, and I had to sue this city to change 132 years of electing people from one basic neighborhood or part of the city, of course the wealthiest part, and leaving the rest of us in a 50 square mile, by the way, almost the same size as Anaheim, leaving us with no representation and completely ignoring our needs. So I was successful with that, and this is the first time in 132 years we're actually electing by districts.
Which is important.
Really quite exciting.
I was talking to somebody in Yucaipa the other day, and we were talking about the former mayor of Dick Riddell, did great service and everything, and he lived up in a neighborhood in the North End, and there are 5 city council people, and 4 of the 5 city council people at one time not only lived in the same neighborhood, but lived on the same block. That's not represented.
We've got that here.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got that here. Yeah, the city attorney and the city manager both are well, one's contracted and the other's somewhat of an employee. And so, no, they're not elected, but I call it the power center of the city.
Power precinct.
They literally on the same street.
Yeah, Dick Riddell, the mayor.
One of them was on the same side of the street. I mean, that's how horrible with a council member.
And these people were people that were in office for years. Dick Riddell lived across the street from Brett Granlund, who was a city council member. And then, 2 blocks down was another city councilman, and on the back block behind them. So can you imagine their neighborhood barbecues were like a violation of the Brown Act?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And we have that here.
So congratulations
so this is
on
going to break it up. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Well, this is the first election, and of course, it's getting a little
dicey.
Voters need to pay attention because we've got one incumbent in a District 1. She's been there for 20 years. Then the power broker of the city, Ellen Wapner, he's a council member. He has banked over $300,000 at any given time in his political coffers. And you want to know where he gets it, Mark? Warehouse developers.
I was just talking about that last
endless amount. Yes. And so he literally transferred. I mean, obviously it had to get reported, but this is how disgusting. He transferred $40,000 cash over to the incumbent in District 1, Deborah Parada, and then his chosen candidate in District 4, which is where I live. By the way, District 4 encompasses the Ontario Airport and anything north of the 10 that's in Ontario. People don't realize Ontario goes that far up. And he has a candidate, Daisy, I can't remember her last name. Anyway, he gave her $40,000 cash, just transferred, just wrote a check, gave him $40,000 like it was nothing. And all the other candidates in both races are grassroots candidates. They're homegrown people who've lived here forever or grew up here, went away, got educated, and came back. We've got 2 really good people in each district that both the Democratic Party and myself and many other groups are endorsing because they actually come from here. And they're not a manufactured candidate like this Daisy is that's going to, and quite honestly, she doesn't even know, I don't think she even knows how city government works.
Yeah, we got one like that up in Yucaipa, too. She's just a pawn of somebody who's wanting to run, couldn't run because his track record was kind of a little dicey and a little sketchy, and he wouldn't have won the election. So he bought somebody in his own mobile home park to run, and you ask her, what's CEQA? And she has no idea. It's the California Environmental Research. Yeah. You got to have some knowledge or serve on a committee, serve on a commission, do something.
At least I've gone to a city council meeting once.
Go.
This lady never has been. They just manufactured her out of thin air and putting all their money and effort because it's all about control.
And you do not do somebody a favor for that. You're not a person's friend when you push them into office, shove them over the edge of the cliff and push. No.
Well, who knows what'll happen one way or the other. But anyway, let me tell you who were all the real people who care about fixing what's going on here and getting rid of 30-year entrenched incumbents. We're backing Andrea Galvan in District 4 and Luis Suarez in District 1.
Okay.
And they're really good people, and they're smart, they're young, they're educated, they know the issues, and I am proud to support them.
So you have 5 people on your city council, and 3 are up for election?
5, but we have 4 council members, and now going to be coming from 4 council districts and one mayor elected at large. The mayor's been there almost 30 years himself.
And that's so important. I was in the city of Chicago for a reason that many people might know, and that was I was at the Democratic Convention when Kamala made history. And, I was told there's 113 different neighborhoods in Chicago. And each one of those is a diverse microcosm of the international world. And so that's the same way, I'm sure, as in Ontario and other cities. Areas of the city tend to congregate like people. And so those like people have to have representation. And sometimes they don't vote as strongly when they're coming from other countries or they're coming from, economic deprived areas. They don't vote because they're too busy or whatever. But that's why sometimes other neighborhoods that are very rich and affluent and have the money to pour into an election can overpower those people, but they don't represent them. And so it's so good. There's actually, I think there was a law about that changed, right? That they had to do this, and the city would be fined if they didn't do it.
And of course, this was done. This was actually a law that was promoted by Richard Polanco. So that was a long time ago.
Mm-hmm, that's an old name.
Richard Polanco was the Speaker pro tem of the President pro tem of the California Senate, and it got passed. It got passed, and then
it got passed, and then we lost Chris Robles. You there? Okay, well, it got passed, and then a lot of cities, I'll just finish this for him, kind of resisted it for a while. And then what happened was the state courts came down and said, either you do this or you're not obeying the law, we're going to start fining you. And there were lawsuits about this. And in particular, oh, you're back. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I'm sorry. my headset keeps picking up. Yeah, exactly. You said it correctly. And then, and the whole point of this is for people, residents, to elect people that represent them, not keep the power within a handful of people coming from the same neighborhoods. And this is not, what I just described in Ontario, what you described in that other city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
None of that is new or different.
No, it's amazing.
But
the power
it happens in a lot of places.
And the powers that be that don't want to relinquish that, want to maintain the status quo, fight it, or they try to get by with it as long as they can, and then eventually they have to pay the consequences. And who really pays the consequences is the taxpayers, because the cities get fined and they have to pay all that. And they lose a percentage of their tax increment is what happens. They don't get fined and have to pay it. The state will say, okay, because you haven't done this, this is XYZ's judgment that you're due this much in your tax increment. We're not going to give you a whole big chunk of it this time around to pay for your fine. And so that's not a good thing to happen. So it's the people you're trying to benefit, and it's the people losing when they don't do it. So you got to force your people to do it. And what's amazing is then some people sit at home and they don't vote, Chris. They don't even bother to turn in the ballot. And
they've simplified it so much. You don't even have to go out of your way to register. You just if you go to the DMV every time you update your driver's license, you get re-registered. And
I got a thing in the mail.
Really no excuse.
I got a thing in the mail. I don't know why I got it, but I got it. I filled it out, and then I really double-checked it. But it said, hey, are you still at the same address, same people, all that. They were just checking, because I've been registered at the same address for so long, and then I'm still alive and, getting up in age. I guess they figured they needed what they call an 880 form or 830 form or whatever it was. And I did it. And then I checked 3 times to make sure, but everything was copacetic, and it was. So that's a good thing. Good. Chris Robles, I thank you for coming on here and being with me on my last day. You're more than welcome to stick around. We're going to change the mood and the timbre right now from politics. Next Thursday, I'll be right back on the air with you, and we'll have you back on again. So what I've done here, Chris, thank you very much, and you're welcome to stick around. But I'm going to invite my good office executive and traffic manager and chief cook and bottle washer and longtime friend Eric Sanchez to sit down and to be the first has ever been on the air in this studio or anywhere else. And the last 15 minutes. Thank you, Chris, by the way. You still with us? I think he hung up. Okay. But welcome, Eric Sanchez.
Wow, thank you.
Let me turn the microphone on. He doesn't know any better here. Okay. Just a second. He's a newbie. There you go. Welcome, Eric Sanchez.
Well, thank you for having me.
And in the control room, Eric Osorio.
Yo.
And these two guys, I got to tell you, helped me through the pandemic. When he's got himself
There
on
he
the
is.
camera too. That's wonderful. And they're good friends. They're good workers. They stuck by us through thick and thin. And a lot of times there's been a lot of thin, I got to tell you.
Notwithstanding all the Martinellis we drink
Martinellis, yes.
regularly.
Martinellis on the rocks. Martinellis and our friend Jack. And and we have a lot of memories here. We got about 14 minutes. We can go as long as we want.
Oh.
Who's on after me? Waterzone?
Yeah.
Oh, heck with them. One of my clients, too. But they've been around since we came in the studio, too. They came on board at the old place. So they've been around all these 8 years. And I got to tell you, it's a privilege and honor to you guys.
Hey, likewise. All the memories that we've had in this place. Oh, buddy.
Yeah.
Look at him taking to the microphone like a pro, Eric. He sounds pretty good.
How come he never produces commercials or newscasts for us?
I know it. Say
because of your ham self over there. Jeez Louise.
KCAA Radio. Say that.
KCAA Radio.
Ooh, he kind of shakes the walls there. We've been missing out on this talent here.
Oh, please. It's all that Joe Lyons I listen to all the time,
What is that brightness coming off the floor? Are those shined-primmed, markless Nikes I see down there? See, one of the things we've always said about Eric is fastidious about his shoes.
What? What's
yes.
wrong? Yeah.
I mean, there's no marks on those shoes. I've never seen dirty tennis shoes on Eric.
Yeah, and they're sneakers, and you're used to seeing them a little scuffed up, but they're always looking brand new.
Brand new. And I think I've seen him run into a panic and run into the restroom when he finds a smudge on them.
Well, I thank my mom for that. She did teach me cleanliness is next to godliness.
Oh, there you go. So those are heavenly inspired tennis shoes. Some nice feet, I have to say. Anyway, Eric Osorio joined us about how many years ago?
I think about 5 years ago. I mean, time flies by. Am I right, guys?
Right, really. Yeah.
And I can remember it was right over here in the corner of the studio, in the talk studio. And I walked around the corner, and he was on another show.
Yeah.
And he was just the DJ spinning the ones and twos. And I needed someone quick. And I kind of blocked him up against the wall and said, "Hey, dude, I'm Mark Westwood. Nice to meet you." I said, "Do you know how to work buttons?" "Yeah, I'm a DJ." "Do you know how to run levers?" "Yeah, I'm a DJ." "Do you learn?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "You want a job?"
I said, "Yes, sir."
And we brought him on, and I truthfully matter, I didn't think I was going to get much out of this dude, and I got really, really surprised.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, honestly,
you were great. You've been great.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You guys everyone at KCAA quickly, made me feel at home, and you guys quickly became a family. And I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. You guys know that. And I like I told you, Mark, at the top of the hour earlier, it's an honor to be able to work the last show here at the station, especially with you guys, people that became my brothers and family. So
that's right.
I really want to say appreciate you guys more than you guys know. And,
brothers in broadcast.
Exactly.
Keepers of the spectrum. Okay, you get the blue tape on your forehead.
That means I get to go.
You get to go. You get to go. Okay, for our listeners, let me clear you into that joke. Do you want to tell them?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, you still haven't sent me the address, so I don't know if I'm going.
You're going. I'm going to wrap you up and put you in a U-Haul box and seal it.
Yes.
You have no choice. Slaves must be sold, not fire. No, I tried not to do that. No, in the last couple of 2-3 weeks, we're taking some furniture. We're not taking some furniture. We're getting some new furniture, and we're grateful to our Teamsters and everybody else for helping us get in there. But the things I'm taking, I have this little blue painter's tape, and you can look around. You can't see it on camera. I mean, we could turn the camera on, you can see it, but everywhere there's blue tape. There's a little piece of blue tape because the movers are coming in, and I got to tell them what to take. And this is like a 3,000 some odd square foot building with lots of furniture that we got more and more and more and more in. So there's blue tape on everything. And one of my assistant GM, our operations guy, Joe Pagano, he came in with a piece of blue tape on his forehead. Says, "You didn't put a piece of blue tape on me." So I went around and put blue tape on everybody. But we've had some stories here.
Yes, yeah.
You could probably tell stories about anything else but me, but you can tell stories.
It has to be safe for on air.
That's right. And some of those stories might not get too.
Plenty of stories, yeah, if we're not on air.
That's when you know you have good friends. They don't tell those bad stories about you.
Yes.
But
man.
we could step onto the patio and discuss it there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that blue tape story reminds me of that show, The Bachelor. I feel like we got a rose. We all that's like, oh, we're making it.
Yeah, that's right. You're getting a rose.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring you a blue tape.
Yes.
Blue tape rose. I think I know somebody can make roses out of blue tape. Blue painter's tape everywhere. And I'm not kidding you. It was on this table. It's it. Okay. People on the camera, it's just on the edge of the table. You can't see it. But here it is. There's the blue tape.
Mark's not telling no fibs, guys.
Put a blue tape on
right here.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Sure
I am going.
We have some special ceremonial music for that. Get blue taped. But now the table's not going, so I know you're going to take that.
We got
off.
it, yeah.
I know because Eric is very prim and proper. All his clothes are always clean. His shoes are always clean.
Unless it's Ash Wednesday, I'll take a little ash on my forehead.
I'm not going there.
Another story, not for on the air.
Yeah. I've had some stories too. I can think of the people that have passed through the hallways here. Some stories, some interesting stories. I can't tell too many of them because I could start to insult them.
Oh, yeah.
We had the person, I won't say his name, that didn't believe in socks.
Oh, no.
And, in the job interview, I didn't think about smelling someone's feet. And it just employees were coming to me. You got to tell him. I said, how do you tell a guy you got to wash your feet? So I did. I actually did. I had a little situation counseling with him. I said, you might consider buying some shoes that are leather, number one. And we have these little socks you can put on that you don't even see them outside the shoe, or maybe some foot spray, or
odor eaters. It's
odor eaters,
what
or
a concept.
taking a shower more than once a week.
Well, that too.
Mark, you said you were gonna you even offered to donate the first 12 pack of socks for him, I believe.
Yeah, I did. At one point, I said, here's a plastic bag. Go put your shoes in the plastic bag. I tried everything in the world. There were some other things that were kind of crazy, so we can't mention names because that's a whole human relations thing, and human resources thing. But yeah, that was one of them. Then we had a guy that used to get stoned on his lunch hour and ride around in the parking lot on his skateboard, and then come back in and just be out of it.
That guy sounds pretty cool, actually.
Except he wasn't very productive.
Oh, no.
Then we did have another guy who did something else with his cigarettes or whatever he was smoking and got into a fight with his car out in the parking lot.
Oh, jeez. Man, a lot of characters coming through. Well, I guess that's KCAA, huh?
That's radio.
Yeah.
If you ever seen a radio show called WKRP in Cincinnati, was on in the 70s, you'll know what we're talking about.
Definitely.
We didn't do a turkey drop, which is a whole thing where turkeys can't fly and all that. But yeah, we've had some stories here. And I was the proverbial Andy of that sitcom. This has been a situation comedy.
Yeah.
In fact, my boss, I have a boss in Texas, which you guys have never met face to face, but I have him. And Fred told me one time he wanted to send in a camera crew and do a reality show here. Because it's been so
probably would have gotten picked up.
Yeah,
by
actually,
Netflix at least.
All the characters, I believe it would have been very entertaining.
Yeah, and I wish we could say we were character free now, but we're not going to mention those names.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just in the writers' room alone, I think there's enough content there.
Well, the writers' room, that's a good
yes.
example. Something that you came up with that concept.
Thank you.
Because I kept running around going, you can't say that. You can't say it. No, don't do that. Don't say that. Disclaimers all the time. Somebody would say something like, of course, that's not the view of the ownership or management here. And I didn't say that. But we call it the writer's room where things are, we could say anything and everything.
That's right.
Yeah.
It definitely keeps things lively here.
So you're gonna miss this place?
Oh, big time. It's like so many memories, so many, like you said, people and just experiences.
You're gonna miss your window most of all.
Oh, that I am.
You still have a window, but it doesn't have the view it has here.
You out there, it's like, I work in front of this nice window, and it's just
Floor
nice
to
view.
ceiling windows out on a parking lot that overlooks a gym.
That's a
And
JYM,
all the babes,
not JIM.
All the babes out there going in and out of there, and then we have the nail salon. And sometimes we say, "Give it up, girl." The toes aren't going to make a difference. Other times, like, but we have that view. We're not going to quite get that next to the courthouse in San Bernardino, which is where we're going.
Be a little limited, unfortunately.
Maybe we'll just put the TV we have back here. Up there, and we can just put a camera out there and watch the view go by here.
Yes.
And it was interesting. We had some transients coming through here too. Some of them that kind of were talking with people we couldn't see in another realm.
Well, it's like the dumpster by us. It's like that would be their little changing booth over there. Would you get that view
unit
too?
or something, huh?
or it gets even better. People get behind their car doors at the gym thinking,
they're
going to change clothes,
Exactly.
and nobody in the gym is going to see them. And they look back at our windows, and they're all dark tinted, and you can't see them, and we can see right out. We're like, costume change, everybody.
Definitely. Oh yeah. Those will definitely be views missed. Definitely.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, we'll have some new memories, I'm sure. Eric, tell us one of your good memories.
One of my good memories is definitely, it's probably in the writer's room, so I don't know if I could say what it was because we're still working on that skit, but just you know what, you guys becoming family to me.
The camaraderie.
Yeah, the camaraderie that we got. Joe Pagano, also a great guy too, and always strictly in Dickies.
We pictured a whole closet with 25 pairs of black pants.
Yeah. And maybe 2 gray ones.
And maybe 10 black T-shirts. Yeah. And he has 5, what do they call those stomping black boots?
Like some Doc Martin boots.
Oh,
or
Doc
something
Martin
like that.
boots. That's right.
Dickies need to sponsor him.
That's right. And every time he comes in here on Friday afternoons. He's got a casserole dish.
Mm-hmm.
Big old
this
one.
pasta thing or
with
whatever.
his pasta. And he kind of lives here in the week. I thank my lucky stars for Joe Pagano. I love Joe Pagano too. And he would be here right with it. We should have just called him up.
We should have actually.
We should have just called Joe up.
That would have been great.
But, thank God he's here because I can walk away on the weekends and he's very, very apt and able and has a lot of capacity.
Yeah, I mean, Joe's awesome. Pagano he's a great guy.
Yeah. And then we got the engineers and John Hotel. And John Hotel's our chief engineer. And the other engineers, Rick and Dick and, everybody else that's helping. Gary West is coming in. Have somebody probably arriving in the next couple of minutes, hopefully. And we're going to start breaking this thing down. We should have a song.
We should, yeah.
Like Sunday Best. Maybe we'll do a tribute to Sam for Sunday Best or something like that. Feeling good. Like I should. It's going to feel good to get out of here, but last hour, Eric, I had a little tear in my eye. I was talking about it. I was sitting around in this room going, oh my gosh, I helped put the paint on the walls. I put that there. I brought this in. And this is a conglomeration of what I did.
Right.
Over there, it's a little different because I have a decorator.
Yeah.
Annabelle,
that's
she's
right,
telling me. She told me, don't bring my junk. I'm like,
you're like, junk? What?
Junk? What talking about junk? What you talking about, girl? What you talking about? Anyway, how many more minutes do we have? About 1 minute, huh? Well, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Eric Sanchez.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Eric Osorio.
Thank you.
Thank you, listeners. Thank you, Fred Lundgren. Thank you, everybody on the team that's helped put this on the air year after year, day after day, Christmas party after Christmas party, birthday party after birthday party, working day after day. And there's a lot that goes on in the background, you folks, you don't see. It is a work job. And, that's why we need to get paid, KCA, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, Mark Westwood, General Manager, signing off for the last time in these studios at 1378 Industrial Park Avenue. It's been good. Thank you.
Bye, guys. We love you.
Bye.
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda is sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932, protecting